Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. As you can tell, it is cold. Fall has definitely arrived. We're into the end of October now. The water temperature is down 66 degrees, so the water temperature is getting on down there actually. I'm on Tim's Ford Lake today, and what's unique about this lake and what I want to talk about a little bit today, they actually draw this lake down in the winter. You can see right there on the shoreline, it's already starting to come down. It's down about 4 feet from what's called summer pool. So they usually draw this lake down 12 to 13 feet. I want to talk about how you deal with the fall and the winter drawdown and what that does to the fish. Where do the fish go? So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to try to catch a few in the process. Y'all stay with me. Let's see what we can do. First tip I can give you is if you want to catch many fish in the fall and winter, don't be a fair weather fisherman. Go whenever you get a chance, because some of my very best days in the fall and winter have been days just like this right here, where it's cold, it's wet, it's rainy. Put your rain suit on and get out there, because I promise you they're biting. Sometimes these old nasty days are the days that windy. Nobody wants to be out here. You won't see many other boats on the water, but you can catch them on those days. Yes. Spotted bass. It's the second spotted bass I've caught today. He's chunky, he's fat. Now he was sitting right on that root ball. Right on the edge of that root ball. Let's throw him back in there and we'll talk a little bit more about this type of bank right here. So something that I really like to look for when the winter drawdown starts happening is these steeper, bluffy type banks. The reason behind that is, I'm not saying that every fish in the lake is going to be on bluff walls when they start drawing the lake down. That's not what I'm saying, because something you got to realize about fishing is nothing is ever set in stone. But I'm just going to talk about what my experience has been and something that I've been able to take across the country when they start drawing these lakes down. You start getting on those bluffy type walls and those fish don't have to move as far when that water starts dropping off that bank. Let's say, for instance, you were fishing a flat, you know, a real flat, the back of a real flat creek or something, and that water starts falling 3 to 4 inches a day. Well, that doesn't seem like a whole lot to us. If you were sitting in your living room in your recliner and somebody started pushing your ceiling down, it's not going to take much before you realize, hey, something's going on here. The space in here is it's getting slimmer and slimmer. Well, it's the same way with a fish. They know what's going on. They live in this water. That's their environment. They know what's going on. You know, so they want to be, in my experience, when the drawdown starts happening, they want to be somewhere where they can get to deeper water fairly quickly. They're bad about suspending around boat docks. You know, that's a really good place, because it doesn't matter how much the water drops, as long as there's enough water under that boat dock. All they got to do is just, you know, they're just going to move down with the water level. Same way with a bluff wall. If that fish is sitting up there on that bluff wall in 3 or 4 feet of water, well, a week from now, when the water drops another foot, all he's got to do is just slide right down to the next little shelf and he can hang out right there. So that's why I think bluff walls are a really, really good place to look during the winter drawdown. All throughout the winter, after the water gets drawn down, bluffs are really, really good places, you know, for fish to hang out. So bluff walls, that may be the key today. We'll see. There's one big one. Get in here, you big sucker. Look at that big joker. That, my friends, is a big one. For this time of year, that's a good one. Golly, that's a pretty fish. He is fat, thick, looks like a big northern largemouth. Dang. That's a good one. I mean, he's well over 3 pounds. Dang good fish right there. All right. Let's put her back. That's a pretty fish. Thank you, girl. Oh, she jumped for us. That was kind of a random bite, to be honest with you. Once again, a bluff wall, just like that last little spot I caught, but I was just going down through here. I'm just flipping a 1/2 ounce brown jig. It's got some green pumpkin in it. It's got some red flake in it. I got a green pumpkin rage crawl on the back of it. And honestly, I was just going down through here and I just made a flip. And my line just started tearing out toward deep water. That's usually the way a good fish will bite a jig. But once again, I mean, this is not as steep a bluff as that last place where I caught that spot, but it's still a bluff nonetheless. If you look right here on my C-map, you can see this is the creek channel and this particular creek that I'm in. So I'm on the bluffy side. It's fixing to get even more bluffy right up here. You see where those contours really tighten up. But I'm on the bluffy side of this creek, and that's where I got that bite. Nice fish. Let's see if we can do that again. Let me walk y'all through my jig setup right quick, because it's looking like, kind of looking like the jig's gonna be the star of the show today, which I sort of expected, to be honest with you. But I'm throwing my 7/6 heavy Mustad Instinct rod. I've been talking about them, but for those of you that are just subscribing or just tuning in, this is a rod. It's going to be a signature series that myself and Mustad have been working on. I mean, everybody knows about Mustad hooks and how good they are. Well, they're getting in the rod business. In this signature series, they've kind of given me the reins on it. This is my 7/6 heavy. Pretty much specifically designed for flipping and pitching. Heavy cover is basically what I mean, it's good for big swim baits and stuff like that too. But 8-to-1 gear ratio reel, 20-pound vicious Pro Elite fluorocarbon is what I like for flipping. And this is just a 1/2 ounce jig. I'm not even sure exactly what jig this is. This may be I think it may be a jig that I picked up in a tackle store somewhere. It's beat up and banged up, but it's just a brown. It's nothing special. It's a brown 1/2 ounce. It's got a little bit of green pumpkin in it. And I've got a Strike King Rage Crawl on the back of it, green pumpkin. There it is. Another nice chunky one. That one was in some shallow wood there. Yeah, that's a good part about a jig. When you stick them, they normally ain't coming off. That's the first bite I've had in a piece of shallow wood. That's good to know. Let's let him go. All right, y'all, I'm gonna try something a little different just for a minute. I come on back in the back end of a pretty good sized creek here. I mean, it's no secret that a lot of fish go to the backs of creeks in the fall. And I mean, that happens on this lake as well, but a lot of times when that drawdown starts happening, it messes with all that. Because a lot of the backs of those creeks get so shallow that those fish will move out about as quick as they move in. But I wanted to come back to the back end of this creek, and there's some shallow wood, as you can see back in here. I'm gonna throw this spinner bait and this little square bill around a little bit, just see if there's a few fish back in here. I'm not gonna stay here too awful long unless I start getting a few bites. The thing with the backs of these creeks is, if they're in here, there'll probably be a pretty good little population of fish in here right now. It's a good way to find a group of fish. They won't be in the back of every creek, but if you can find a creek that's got a bunch of bait in it, a lot of times there'll be a big group of fish. So we're gonna fish around in here a little bit, see if we can get a couple bites. If not, we'll move on back out there to the main lake. There he goes. Right out of a piece of that shallow wood. That did not take long. Definitely some fish on that shallow wood today. That's cedar trees right there. That's what that is. Pretty little fish. He's not big, but he's a good keeper. That's 3 keepers so far, and I've only been here a couple hours. Good deal. He tore my trailer up. Let's get me a new trailer. We'll catch us another one, or hope so anyway. I just like to take that orange marker, just mark the ends of those pinchers up, just give it a little bit of contrast, just makes it look natural. Just pick this stuff apart. There's another one. I missed that one. There he is. I got him that time. Definitely some fish in here. You see what I say about a group of fish? You get back in these creeks like this and get around some fish, normally there'll be a decent group of them. Obviously, there's a decent group of them back in here. Nothing big yet, but that's 2 bites just back to back on these shallow cedar trees, I guess. I like that. There he is. Good one too. Gosh, he corroded that thing. It is down the hatch. Check that out. Rarely in fishing do things work out exactly the way you want them to, but I kind of got lucky on this deal. I ain't gonna lie, but I told y'all when I pulled in here, if you can find them in the back of a creek like this, just let him go. You can find them in the back of a creek like this, there's usually going to be a good group of them. And I hadn't been here 5 minutes, and I've already caught 3 keepers. There you go. Another nice one. That fish is solid. They are definitely on these bluff walls. Just about, if you think about it, guys, just about everything I've caught today has been on some kind of something vertical. And that's the point I want to make. And like I said earlier, not every single fish in the lake is doing this right now. I mean, there's fish doing a lot of different things in the fall. But when the drawdown starts and that lake starts dropping inches per day, look for those vertical places where those fish don't have to go far to get to deeper water. And you'll find fish quick. Even those fish that I caught back in that creek, they weren't on those horizontal trees that run way out in the lake. They were on those vertical trees that stick straight up off the bottom. There's a reason for that. big smallmouth. That son of a gun, I flipped in that tree and got ready to reel it in, and he followed it up out of there. I dropped it down to him, he didn't eat it. Flipped it back over there on that tree. It took a couple casts, but I got that joker to bite again. That's a good smallmouth. I mean, he's 19 inches probably. Good keeper. He's pretty. Let's put him back. All right, everybody, that's gonna wrap it up for today. I hope you guys learned a little something about fishing the winter drawdown. Like I said, Tim's Ford Lake, the lake I was on today, they draw it down 12 or 13 feet, and I get a lot of questions. Some lakes over in East Tennessee and stuff, they'll draw them down 30 and 40 feet in the winter time. So, you know, it's something that I think it kind of freaks a lot of people out when it starts happening. I know I get a lot of questions about it. And the fish are on the move a lot this time of year, both because of the drawdown and because it's fall and fish are just scattered into fall. That's just the nature of the beast. But I hope that taught you a little something. That's not, you know, fishing that vertical type stuff, that bluffy type structure, and then that vertical type wood like dock poles and standing up trees and stuff like that. That's a real good pattern this time of year. I hope you guys saw that. Hope you learned a little something. I appreciate you watching. I appreciate you subscribing. Share the videos with your buddies. We got some giveaways and stuff coming up. So y'all take care. I'll see you next time right here, Brandon Lester Fishing.